Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad you could join me because today is a very special day. This is the last show of the 17th series, and I thought today we would devote this entire show to a question and answer period. And for that, I've asked a very special friend to come in and help me today. I'd like to introduce you to Dana Jester. And Dana is one of our national certified instructors. He travels all over the country, and he teaches literally thousands of people the joy of painting. Dana, welcome to us.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
What I've done here, Dana, is I've taken just some of the basic questions that we get in. We get a lot of letters from people all over the country, and I've just sort of taken the basic problems that people are having. And if you'll give me a little hand here, I'm going to just sort of ask you these things and see if between the two of us we can answer these questions.
Sure.
Dana teaches people every day, and maybe since I don't teach as much as I used to anymore, maybe I've forgotten to explain some of these things, and Dana can help us a little. So, Dana, the first question, and I know this is a problem because I do it off camera in order to save time, and that's applying the liquid white. This question goes, how do I apply the liquid white, and how much liquid white do I use? How do I know when I have enough on the canvas or too much? And tell you what, if you would just show us basically how you put the liquid white on.
All righty, we can handle that. What I usually do is just dip your brush in there and get a small amount. You're going to work it into the canvas. And after you cover the entire canvas, I cheated a little bit today. I had all this area covered except for just a small portion here. And I'll tell you what, you can give it the old fingerprint test. After you coat the canvas, what I would do is just go up here, touch the canvas, and if you can still see your fingerprint, you're in good shape.
Okay, so what you're looking for is just a nice even distribution all over the end of the finger. All right, let me ask you this then, because I'm asked this over and over. What would you do if you have too much liquid white on the canvas? And that happens frequently.
Well, if you have, in that case, what I do is, clean my brush, dry it real good, go back and forth on the entire canvas, lifting, and it'll help remove a lot of this liquid white that you have on there. You can kind of rub that in and give it the fingerprint test, and if that does not work, then, well, you can go back and
you can do this as many times as
repeat
necessary.
It, yeah.
Very good. All right, let me go to the next one here. This is a question from a lady in Virginia. She says she's having problems with her clouds. Her clouds are not coming out and looking very fluffy. Wants to know basically what her problem is. So I tell you what, would you just throw us in a little blue background up there, maybe real
sure,
quick, and let's do a couple of little clouds here. What are you using? Just a little Prussian blue today?
A little Prussian blue, and I'll tell you what, if you don't have dark, it's kind of tough to show light. So I always start out a little darker up here at the top of your sky. You can always work this on down and let it gradually lighten up into the liquid white there.
Okay, why don't you just put us a little sky in there, and we'll show everyone exactly how to do a happy little cloud today. And it's fantastic that people take the time to write us. We get literally hundreds of letters every week, and we have a staff of people that try to answer each and every letter. So if you do have questions, please feel free to drop us a line. We'd be glad to answer them if we can. So, okay, how we coming there?
I think we're just about ready to drop in a cloud. You know what, I might sneak in just a little bit of water down here.
All right, why don't you?
Since I have blue on the brush already, you never can tell. We may not even have water. It's just something nice to throw in.
It's also a good way to clean the blue paint out of your brush.
That's for sure.
All right.
All right.
Tell you what, Dana, would you make clouds maybe today with a, let's do one little cloud with a fan brush, say, and then show us one with a 1-inch brush. How's that?
All righty.
And
get this little large brush cleaned out. I've been waiting for years to do this, Bob. I've been wanting to do this and that.
All right, here we go. The camera people are overjoyed.
Okay.
Because at long last, Bob has got all the splatters.
Well, what we're going to do here is just pick up, I'm just using titanium white here.
All right.
Load the brush up pretty heavy, both sides. Work in your dark areas and kind of press up and push. Keep the brush moving and spin it.
Okay, but the big thing here is notice the little circular patterns. That's what gives you the little fluffy edges. Dana, do one for me right up here where you just stay in one spot and keep grinding.
No, you're wanting me to make some mud, aren't you?
Right. That's exactly what I want you to see.
Okay.
Because this is one of the biggest problems that we see over and over. People will stay in one spot and keep making these little circles, and what happens is you end up, it looks like big cotton balls hanging in the sky. Now, if this should happen to you, all you need to do is take your knife and do a cloudectomy. Just zip it right off and put a little blue back on and go right back. As you know, we don't make mistakes. We only have happy accidents. So let's see how Dana's doing here.
Okay, that's the old fan brush treatment. Now we'll try for 1-inch brush here.
Okay, now this is just the basic shape. You're going to come back and fluff and
Yeah,
blend that.
we'll work on those. Now when you're loading the 1-inch brush, you can almost basically load it like you do when you're loading for a bush. It takes quite a bit of paint.
And I notice you're pulling it in just one direction.
And then you have about that much paint on the brush. It's quite a bit of paint.
Okay.
And you can work this brush in circles again, just like when you're using your fan brush.
You're doing basically the same thing only with a larger brush.
On the big brush.
And this is good probably if you want to make big clouds and make them very fast.
Go back and reload. Oh, yeah.
Okay. There. It's also worth mentioning that Dana, along with my son Steve, travel all over the country, and they teach literally hundreds and hundreds of people how to instruct in this fantastic method of painting. So as they say, Dana's in the field every day, so if anyone can help us with corrections, I'm sure that he's the man that can do it. So let's check him out. All right, Dana, what are you going to do now?
Okay, I'm going to use the top portion of this brush and work just with the corner of it and blend and soften this down into the canvas.
Okay, notice that he's not touching the top of the clouds. He's only blending the base of the clouds. You want the top of those clouds to remain nice and firm. And he does the same thing on the ones that he did with the fan brush.
Then I'll beat the excess paint out and lightly. You can fluff them up or lightly go across it here.
Either way.
Yeah, just set them down in the canvas a little bit. But it is 3 hairs and some air, just like you say.
It's a very gentle touch. Okay, very good. And that's one of the nicest, easiest, simplest little ways of making very effective clouds. So I tell you what, there's the next question. Basically here, why do you scrape the base coat of the mountains off after you carefully... We're going to send this person a penmanship book. Carefully place it on the canvas, I believe it is.
Sounds like we better do some mountains then.
Well, I think what they're asking here is, we put the base shape of the mountain on, then we scrape off that excess paint. Maybe you would show that.
Alrighty. I'm going to take Van Dyke Brown, Prussian Blue, Midnight Black, and if you wanted to, just to see what value you had, you could put in a little titanium white, but if it's your very first round, I would stay with the real dark color.
Keep it very dark.
Yeah, now I'll wipe off my knife, and when you load the knife...
Loading the knife is very important, yes.
You can go into the paint like this and pick up a roll on the knife like that. I don't know if you can see that little roll there. Yeah.
Okay, why don't you just lay us in a very basic little mountain shape, and let's just play with it, because I know there's another question coming up here about mountains. Okay. I notice that you're pushing very, very hard.
Yeah, you need to really remove the excess paint so you'll work that pigment of the paint into the grain of the canvas, really.
Okay, so then what you're saying is you scrape this to remove the excess paint.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the reason we scrape it.
Right. And that nice dark color will help us in the long run. Make your lights really pop out.
It also makes application of the highlight color much easier if you don't have a lot of paint up here on this mountain. The more of that you take off, the easier the next step will become. Dana, why don't you blend that out?